welcome to DTI YouTube channel. My name is Dennis Taboda. I wanted to do this particular video outdoors, and that sound you're hearing is my waterfall that we have out here in our deck here at DTI. And I needed to show you sampling today, and I need you to be relaxed. That's why you have the waterfall sound in the background. Okay, you need to be relaxed because we're going to be dealing with some numbers here today. Sampling is an excellent tool when you have a lot of stuff you have to inspect or a lot of stuff you have to look at, but you don't have the time. You want to be able to look at just a few of the items and then allow that sample size to reflect the quality level of the entire lot of material that you have. The sampling plan that we're going to be looking at today is something called a zero-based sampling plan. It was actually used by the Department of Defense, Defense Contract Management Agency, to perform sampling in a system that already has a quality assurance function. So really, the sampling plan is kind of poor because it doesn't have a very high confidence level. This particular sampling plan goes from about an 85% sampling level to a 95%. But if you consider that 100% sampling only gives you approximately 80% accuracy, you're actually better off using the sampling plan. Now, this particular sampling plan is based on a binomial distribution as opposed to a Poisson. Now, I know there's a lot of different distributions, alpha, beta distributions, all kinds of distributions. But it's important to understand that this sampling plan must be used with a binomial distribution. When I was in school, I had a professor, Dr. Marcus Connor. He was a statistics professor, and he was very good at taking complex ideas and making them simple. A binomial distribution can be looked at like this. Here down south, we have a lot of screened-in porches. People like to spend their days out on the porch, and there's a screened-in porch, but still, you know, flies get into the screened-in porch. And if you have a screened-in porch that the door isn't opened and closed all the time and is completely sealed, the amount of flies in the porch is considered a binomial distribution. Now, if you put a hole in the screen or you open the door so that flies can come in and out at their will, then in the actual porch you have a Poisson distribution. That means that the sample or the lot is changing as we're sampling. So this particular sampling plan requires a binomial distribution. And so we have to look at it as a finite lot. So wherever you go to do your inspection, for example, we're going to look at pilot training records, the lot must be that particular amount of pilots that is there as you're performing that inspection, therefore a binomial distribution. Now, this sampling plan, and you really can't see it that well here, although I can zoom in on it. You can actually get a copy of this sampling plan from our website, dtiquality.com or dtiatlanta.com. And if you go to the reference material section, you can simply download this for free. So once you have it, then you can come back to this video and I can show you how to use it. All sampling plans are based on the lot size. Now let's take a closer look at the sampling plan here. And we see along the top, you'll see lot size, and then you'll see percentages. Now these percentages are called AQLs. And AQL stands for acceptable quality level. Now, what's an AQL? Well, what it means is when you do sampling, you're taking a chance. And the chance is that because you're sampling, you may miss something. Well, the AQL is the acceptable quality level of material or records that we will accept as the samplers. We will accept if everything is good. In other words, there's still a possibility we will have bad records in the lot. It really should be called acceptable non-quality level, but unfortunately in quality assurance and statistics, they use the term AQL. So one of the first things we have to establish is what is the AQL that we're going to use for our sample. Now, I chose 1%. It depends. If you're very confident that the lot is a good lot, you can raise the AQL, which lowers the sample size. Or if you want to get more confidence in your sampling, you lower the AQL, and that raises the sample size. But then again, it raises the amount of work that you have to do. So a 1% AQL has been chosen by the government of Canada to perform their sampling of records by Transport Canada. It's also a common AQL that's used in industry. Now, you see the 1% column here, which indicates these are all of these samples here are the AQL of 1%. So the way you use the sampling plan is you go to the lot first. So you approach the lot by simply asking, how many total records do we have? That's the lot size. So for example, let's say we have 250 records. So we go to the interval that contains 250, which would be this interval right here. Now, you follow along the interval until the AQL, and then we have a number here, the number 20. That number is the sample size. Now, this is a zero-based sampling plan. So understand that out of that sample size of 20, we must have 100% conforming records. One record is bad, then the lot fails. All 250 records are suspect. And then what happens is now the company, the enterprise, must check the entire lot 100% to make sure that there's no additional records. Now, choosing the sample size. For example, let's say we had 100 records, right? 100 records. That gives us this interval right here of 91 to 150. Our sample size then would be 13. All right. Now, how do we choose those 13 records? Do we choose them like just, hey, give me 13 random records? No. The records must be chosen numerically random. You must have some kind of random number generator. Transport Canada has chosen to use the sampling application or random number generator from Government Canada or Measurement Canada. And I'll give you that website so you can go there to look at that. But it doesn't matter. If you have a calculator that has a random number generator or any type of random number generator you can get from the internet, that's fine. But the samples must be chosen numerically random. So you simply get a list of 13 random numbers, equate each one of those to one of the samples. So you go through the lot. For example, we have 13 samples. So sample number 1 would be maybe record number 5. Sample number 2 would be record number 10. Whatever the random numbers are, you equate those to each of the records. You pull those records out, and there is your sample size. And again, this is a zero-based sampling plan, so every single record must be conforming. All right. So we use a random number generator, and this is important to understand because a random number generator is the key for the operational curves in this sample plan to work. So random number generator. All right. Now, the sampling plan is designed so that the operational curves encompass the entire sample. What does that mean? If you're using the sampling plan and you have a sample, let's say of 13, you must check all 13 samples. Now what that means is, let's say I find the very first sample I pull is non-conforming. Well, yes, the lot fails according to the sampling plan. but you must go ahead and check the other 12. The reason is, according to the sampling plan, to get that AQL at 1%, we must perform that particular sample in whole. Now, if you found 2 bad records, the operational curve is exponential for this particular sampling plan. So it's not 2% defective material. It may be 7, 8% defective material. And then again, if you found a 3rd one, that means that that lot has not been looked at by your QA department. And that indicates that your system has failed. And a lot of companies, when we introduced this sampling plan to Canada, from the United States, a lot of companies were really upset with us because of the zero-based factor of the sampling plan. But remember, your company is supposed to have a QA system. So your records should have been created following a procedure. Your people should have been trained on how to fill out records. And then the records then go through into your system, and then you have a random audit that's being done of your system. That random audit of the system also should reveal, if you use sampling, it's fine, but a random audit also should reveal non-conforming records. So if you did that, then the records that were non-conforming should have been caught. So when the regulator uses the sampling plan, which they will, because in Canada, Transport Canada, it's required by their procedure, SUR 001, that they use this sampling plan. Then they, when they find a bad record, are really not concerned about the record. They're concerned that your system didn't find it. And so the system is written up by Transport Canada based on the sampling plan. Now, they must follow the sampling plan because the operational curves are numerically obtained, and they must follow the procedure for sampling. They must use a random number generator. They must select the samples that correspond to the random numbers, and then they perform their inspection as normal. The sampling plan does allow, though, for something called stratification. What that means is, let's say we have 200 pilots that we have, but you know, we're looking at the sampling plan, 200 pilots, we're looking at 20. But I don't want to look at all pilots. I just want to look at the pilots that fly into Toronto, just those pilots. The regulator or the sampler has the right to select what the definition of the lot is. And so that's where we come up with stratification. So then pilots flying into Toronto may be 50. And if there's 50 pilots flying into Toronto, now our sample size is reduced to 13. And so stratification is allowed under the rules of sampling and is allowed under this particular sampling plan. So that's basically how to sample using the zero-based sampling plan. If you would like to learn more about sampling, I suggest that you sign up for one of our workshops on quality assurance. That's where we cover sampling. And download the free sampling plan that we have on our website, dtiquality.com. Click on the reference materials section. Also then, once you get that, you can take a look at this video and it explains how to use this particular sampling plan. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always email me. You can call our toll-free number, or you can just simply get me through LinkedIn or one of the other social media ways that you can contact us. So, sampling plan of 100. Sample will be 13 under a 1% AQL. 1 unit or 1 record fails, the lot fails, and a finding is written. You can use this sampling plan in your company. Remember, it's a tool. Anytime you have to do a lot of records and you don't have the time to do it, sample them, and you'll still have a very high confidence level that the sample reflects the lot of material. All right, I hope this sampling YouTube video was useful to you. I know that the water calmed you down, the fountain, and I'm looking forward to hearing some of your comments, and download that sampling plan for free. All right, we give everything away here at DTI. All right, so you have a great day, and look forward to you in the world of quality assurance and sampling.